There's been a lot of talk lately about Mars, especially with NASA's Artemis missions and SpaceX's Starship tests. For most of us, Mars feels like the obvious next step, another planet where humans might actually live. But what if Mars isn't our best option? What if Venus, Earth's so called sister planet, could be an even better choice for colonization? You might not know it, but scientists have been thinking about colonizing Venus for a long time, since the 1970s, in fact. And while Mars gets all the attention, Venus has some pretty big advantages that are worth considering. Let's start with the basics. Venus is much closer to Earth than Mars. At their farthest points, Venus is about 87 million miles closer. That might not sound like a big deal at first, but it really is. A shorter journey to Venus means significantly less travel time. This isn't just about convenience. Less time in space means less exposure to the harmful effects of microgravity and radiation, which are major concerns for astronauts on long missions. Another advantage Venus has over Mars is its proximity to the Sun. Venus is, on average, about twice as close to the Sun as Mars. This makes a big difference when it comes to solar power. Solar panels on Venus would be able to generate far more energy than those on Mars, which is crucial for sustaining any long-term human presence. But perhaps one of the most significant factors is gravity. On Venus, gravity is about 90% of what we experience here on Earth, compared to Mars's 40%. Why does this matter? Well, in low-gravity environments like Mars, the human body suffers. Over time, astronauts would experience muscle and bone loss, which could make long-term habitation incredibly difficult. Venus, with its Earth-like gravity, wouldn't pose the same level of risk, allowing for a more sustainable human presence. And let's not forget about Venus's atmosphere. It's thick, much thicker than Mars's. This might sound like a disadvantage at first, but it actually provides better protection from radiation and meteorites, which are constant threats on Mars. On Venus, astronauts would be shielded from these dangers in a way they wouldn't be on the Red Planet. But before we get too excited, it's important to acknowledge the challenges. And let's be honest, Venus has some serious ones. The surface of Venus is, to put it mildly, extreme. Temperatures soar above 450 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. The pressure is so intense that it would crush even the toughest submarines within hours. And the rain? It's not water, but highly corrosive acid, far more dangerous than anything we've ever seen on Earth. So, with a surface like that, how could Venus possibly be a viable option? The answer lies in the skies above Venus, not on the surface. About 30 miles up in the atmosphere, conditions become surprisingly Earth-like. The pressure is much more manageable, the temperature is closer to what we're used to, and the gravity remains at that comfortable 90% of Earth's. This layer of the atmosphere is where we could actually live, building floating cities above the clouds. Imagine that for a moment. Cities floating in the Venusian atmosphere, powered by the abundant solar energy available so close to the sun. NASA is already exploring this concept with something called Project HAVOC. In these floating cities, we wouldn't need bulky spacesuits like we would on the Martian surface, just basic protection from acid rain and a steady supply of oxygen. It's a concept that sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's grounded in real science. And what about the future? Could we go even further and terraform Venus? Some scientists think it might be possible. The idea is to cool down the planet and reduce the crushing pressure, possibly by deploying massive solar reflectors in space to deflect sunlight, or by introducing hydrogen to react with the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. These are ambitious ideas, no doubt, and would take decades or even centuries to achieve, but they offer a glimpse into what might be possible. So, where does this leave us in the Mars versus Venus debate? Mars might be the easier target for now. The technology needed to reach and live on Mars is within our grasp. But Venus, with its Earth-like gravity and natural protection from radiation, could offer a more sustainable option for long-term human habitation. In the short term, Mars might be the better option simply because it's more accessible with the technology we have. But in the long term, Venus could be the ultimate destination. Imagine a future where we have floating cities in the skies of Venus or even a terraformed surface that feels like home. The idea of humans living on another planet is no longer just a dream. Whether we end up on Mars, Venus, or both, the future of space colonization is incredibly exciting. And who knows, in our lifetime, we might just witness the beginning of humanity's next great adventure, finding a new home among the stars. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe for more jaw-dropping space updates, and join us as we embark on a cosmic journey like never before.